Are you a woman of faith or open-minded seeker, wanting to make a difference, but find yourself asking, how can I heal my emotions and overcome the hurt, pain, and regrets of my past? How can I break free from the medical matrix and heal my mind and body holistically? How can I lose weight without losing my joy? How can I live in this world without being consumed by it? How can I have more of God's blessings, miracles, and protection over my life? If you resonate with any of these questions, you are in the right place, my sister. Welcome to the Sharing the Bliss podcast, where we help women of faith soothe their souls, heal their bodies, and live their bliss in a time like this. Join me, Coach Carmen Abercrombie, certified holistic health coach, author, speaker, and founder of Sharing the Bliss, and my co-host, Coach Denise Beecham, the Wellness Diva, on this weekly joyful transformational journey. Because regardless of your current circumstances, your breakthrough begins today. So hello, welcome to the Sharing the Bliss podcast. I'm your host, Coach Carmen, and I'm here with Coach Denise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is good to see you. I'm definitely excited to share what we have with you today.
Totally, because today we're beginning a new series entitled Soul Detoxing. And this episode is all about asking the question, what is a soul detox? So we're going to jump right in because there's so much to share about this topic. It's a big part of Sharing the Bliss. In fact, it is the beginning of our 28-day body and soul detox. We start off that detox that has been around for 13 years now with the soul detox. Because when you are detoxing your body, you have to start first with the soul. So let's talk about it, Coach Denise. The question most people are probably asking is, what is a soul detox?
Yeah.
So the soul detox is all about detoxing the soul. The question is, what is the soul? What is your soul? You know, we're really going back to basics, but sometimes we need to go there. So the soul is made up of our mind, our will, and our emotions. Mind, will, and emotions. There are some belief systems that believe that the soul is the spirit. But as believers, the Bible teaches us that we are three-part beings: spirit, soul, and body. So the soul is different from the spirit. The spirit lives on forever. The body of man does not live on forever. It's our earth suit. We need our body to function and to live in this earthly plane, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to take care of our bodies. In fact, the Word of God tells us to take care of our bodies, to treat our bodies like the temple of God.
Absolutely.
Right? So taking care of the body is very important. But what's even more important is knowing how to take care of your soul. So that's why we talk about detoxing the soul. Just as we detox our body, we want to detox the soul. So why would we want to detox the soul? The reason why is because we live in a world that has become what I call the matrix. And in the matrix, it's just a hot mess. The matrix has a lot of stuff going on. It's a world within a world. Man has taken the world and turned it into something that is not of God. And there's a lot of issues that we have in this world, a lot of negative that we are constantly bombarded with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you can't even live by yourself without being confronted with things that are going to affect your soul. If you watch television, many things are going to affect your soul.
Yep.
Right? Because the soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Right, Coach Denise?
Exactly. We were just talking about that a few minutes ago, about how outside influences can affect how you think, how you feel, how you behave. You can be around someone and take on their particular energy, and you can start doing things that you never did before or hadn't done in a while, like using curse words, not eating correctly.
Yeah. Even if you are, like I was saying before, watching television, watching the news,
Yes.
that's going to affect your mind and your emotions, and it's going to affect your will as well.
Yes.
We're going to talk about how your mind affects your will in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to make sure that you understand is that regardless to what you're going through in life, if you can detox your soul, you can detox your life.
Amen.
It's really important to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So our 28-day body and soul detox program, which has been around for 13 years, God bless me with the program. It is life-changing. It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives.
Yes.
We start that program off with the soul detox.
Mm-hmm.
So before we even get into food, we talk about dealing with our soul issues.
Yep.
We actually deal with our soul issues.
Yes.
Because we know that before you can have the discipline to change the way you eat, you have to deal with what's been causing you to eat the way you've been eating, what's been going on in your life that caused you to gain those extra 50 pounds? What has caused you to not take care of yourself anymore?
Mm-hmm.
What has caused the dis-ease? Most people today understand that dis-ease has a lot to do with the mind and the emotions. So that disease did not just happen many times. Most of the time, disease develops as a result of what's going on in our soul. And doctors are never going to tell you that.
That's not how they're taught. Doctors are not taught that way. So they're not going to give you information that way. They're not going to respond to your illness that way.
No. Very linear in thinking. Mm-hmm. So they don't think spirit, soul, and body. Mm-hmm. They think body. And if the body has an issue, they're going to focus on that issue. They're not going to focus on, well, what caused the issue, right? That's our responsibility.
Right.
It's our responsibility to find out what's going on in our mind, in our soul, mind, will, and emotions before we quickly accept a prescription for some type of depression medication. You have to find out what's going on in your soul first, and the doctor's not going to tell you that. They can't help you with that.
Right.
You have psychiatrists that could possibly support you, but when you do a true soul detox, it's on a whole nother level, because this is you working with God to help heal your emotions.
Yes.
And release issues that you have going on in your mind. So basically, what I like to do is I like to explain that most people are under the misconception that their lives are a result of conscious thoughts, right? Every day, I'm thinking consciously, I live consciously, I think, I do. That's it. But the fact is, our current thoughts, choices, and actions are a result of a lifetime of conditions, events, and words that have left an impression in our subconscious mind. Those things cannot be erased just like that. They're pretty much permanently there. There's work that has to be done in order for you to release and let go of those old mental programming.
Yes.
So the old mental programming is something that is happening every moment of your life. You're not even aware of it. We're not aware of it. We're not conscious of
That's true.
What we're thinking subconsciously, because we think that we're just conscious beings, right? So that means that the decisions that we make on a daily basis has much to do with the way we lived in the past, thoughts that we thought, actions that we took, decisions that we made, listening to people possibly putting us down and saying negative things about us as a child. And we're not even aware that we don't want to speak in public because our uncle said that we sound like Minnie Mouse when we were little. And, oh, come in, Minnie Mouse. And you never got over that. You thought you did, but it's still in your subconscious mind.
Right.
And until you release that and flush that out, it's going to forever have that impression that causes you to react.
Right.
Yes. Is there anything else you wanted to say
Exactly.
about
No, it just made me think of something, because a lot of it stems from childhood, obviously. And you brought up about the public speaking. and why some would be fearful, and yours happens to be the sound of the voice. But it's also, you could get information constantly about how you look, complexion, because if you're a certain complexion, you're not beautiful, so you shouldn't be standing in front of people because they're going to think you're ugly, things like that. And that's what I was thinking about when you were saying that. So yeah, all of those things have a lot to do with how we respond when we're older.
And lifestyles that we take on.
Exactly.
So it's everything. It is everything. You cannot live your life thinking that what you have going on in your mind is not affecting you.
No.
So that's why it's so important that we take the time to think and to process and to make decisions based on the truth. So how do we do that? We got to let go of the lies. So now, let's talk about the fact that our subconscious mind is much more than what operates the body, right? So it's not just operating the body. It's forever running in the background as we go about making what we call conscious decisions. There's something that is called a mental feedback loop. And I like to use this analogy of a mental feedback loop. Because this is what's happening every day, every moment, pretty much, that we live. And by the way, we're actually looking through our soul detox, actually the 28-day body and soul detox.
Yes.
So you see us looking down at our phone. This is because we are going through the 28-day body and soul detox book, focusing on the soul detox chapter. And we're doing this because we want to make sure that we don't miss anything. We want to make sure that we give you some of the most important parts. There's just a lot involved in this soul detox. It's simple, but there's a lot of components because we have so many things to consider when it comes to the way we think in our lives, right? That's the only reason, but it is very simplistic. The mental feedback loop starts with our thoughts, right? We think. We're forever thinking. We're thinking beings. God created us that way. So when we think with our conscious mind. So our conscious mind thinks, reasons, it accepts, and it rejects. It chooses. It's our chooser. Our subconscious mind must accept as real whatever it is shown, whether it is true, whether it is imagined. It cannot reject. It cannot choose, and it cannot reason.
That is so deep.
The subconscious mind cannot
that
reject.
Is so deep.
It cannot reason. It cannot choose. Which means that whatever goes into your mind, it's going to stay there as true until you decide that you are not going to accept it as true. If you just listen to it, if you just listen to the news, if you just watch horror stories all the time, horror movies, and a lot of horrific television programs, and you don't tell yourself, I'm not accepting that. That is not real in my life. Your subconscious mind is going to take it and it's going to lock it in.
Take it as truth.
If it happens often enough, if you see it often enough, if you say it often enough, it's going to create an impression in your mind. And it's like a blueprint that you can't erase easily. You can release it. That's why we're talking about the soul detox. But it takes work. And the more you allow things to go into your head that you don't reject consciously, you're going to have a lot more chaos in your mind. Right? So we want to release the chaos. We want to kind of keep ourselves from having more and more crazy in our lives, right?
Exactly.
We live in the matrix, which is chaotic. But we don't want our lives to be that way, right? So we want to be very, very vigilant about what we accept and what we reject. But remember, the subconscious mind cannot do that on its own. It just takes it and receives it. So, thank God we have a will. The good news is our will is the buffer. The will allows our conscious mind to decide what our subconscious is going to receive. But if you have a lazy will and you're just allowing everything that comes into your mind, to your thoughts, you're going to end up having all of that stuff in your subconscious. So thank God that we have a will. So the will allows us to say, no, I'm consciously saying I'm not receiving that. So how often do we actually say, no, I'm not receiving that?
Well, before the soul detox, probably never.
Right. So true. Probably never. You're not saying, no, I'm not receiving that.
Mm-mm.
Even when it comes to any type of altercation with someone. Generally, the first thing we do is we retaliate or we explain our situation
Yes.
or whatever.
Yep.
We don't take the time to say, wait a minute, I'm thinking consciously. I'm not going to get involved with this.
Right.
I choose. My will is telling me that I can just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
My will is telling me that I can just listen and smile and say, I love you anyway. Right?
Amen.
But unfortunately, that takes practice. It really does. So the mental feedback loop, going back to that, our thoughts is going to create feelings. When you think, you're going to feel. You cannot think without feeling. So your thoughts are going to create feelings. Your feelings are going to cause you to react. That's why, like that discussion that you had with that person that could have gone negative, if you decide to accept that situation as negative, you're going to feel negative feelings, and then you're going to act upon those feelings.
Yes.
But if you think first and say, you know what, this is not as bad as the person's making it seem like, let me just make peace with them. You're feeling like it's not so bad.
Right.
You felt that feeling, right? It's not so bad.
Right.
And then
This is true.
you took the action of it not being so bad. Right?
This is true.
It's amazing. And then guess what? The result is not going to be so bad. Because the thoughts create the feelings create the actions, and the actions create the results. And that's happening all the time, right? So if you consciously believe a thing that is true, your subconscious mind will accept it as true and proceed to bring it to pass. That's what's so scary.
That is really scary to think about. But I think for the first time,
Yes.
I have a true understanding of this.
What?
Because I always have. But
This is deep. This is
I
a breakthrough.
always have an issue with this, but I think for the first time I actually have a true understanding of it, because you broke it down from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind. And now I understand why this part of the soul detox actually works, because it actually teaches you to reprogram what you're thinking. And that's done with the conscious mind.
Yes.
So when the subconscious mind puts something in your head, like for instance, well, you're not going to have a good time when you go out because you don't normally do stuff like that. And you just might accept it. So you go out and it's like, I don't like this. This is not good. But if you reject it with your conscious mind right away, well, you know what? I may not have experienced this. I may have heard some things about it, but I am making a decision today that I'm going to go out. I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm going to experience something new and have a good time doing it.
Absolutely.
I got it.
Yes. Now, when you said that, how did it make you feel?
I felt like my brain just opened up, and I mean, I've been doing this, mind you, I've been doing this. Like I'll reject something in a minute. I'm not receiving that.
Right.
I say it all the time, but
Absolutely.
I actually feel like a breakthrough came, like my mind finally understood what this is actually all about.
Yes.
I feel enlightened.
That's beautiful. Amen.
enlightened.
We're going to talk about how your choices have such an effect on your frequency, and how your frequency has an effect on reality, what happens. Because if you have that low vibrational frequency, you're going to attract low vibrational situations.
Yes.
And that low vibrational frequency comes from what's going on subconsciously.
Yeah.
That's why we want to detox the soul.
Oh, this is so good.
Yay, the mind, will, and emotions. So what we like to do is we like to use an example, and This example is actually a little practice that you can do to constantly be aware of what you're thinking and see how what you're thinking is always going to cause you to have a certain feeling, which is going to cause you to have a certain action and a certain result. We like to use examples like negative thoughts create negative feelings, which causes negative actions, which creates negative results.
Yes.
Right? So you could do that with anything. Loving thoughts creates loving feelings, which causes loving actions, which creates loving results. It's very simple, like I said. It's very, very simple. But here's the thing. We don't really practice working on controlling our mind. You know, we think about, oh man, I got to control the way I eat because I'm just out of control. The way I eat. I got to control my mouth because I'm just out of control with the things I say, right? But it all starts with controlling your mind, which means that if you can follow this mental feedback loop and use this exercise on a regular basis, it's going to affect every area of your life, your diet, your relationships, you know, your financial, definitely, for sure. That's why it's so important for us, again, to soul detox, for sure.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about Coach Shanice. Now, I'm so excited.
Yes.
That you got this.
Yes. I'm actually sitting here grinning because I can't believe I actually got it. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So if we go back to the mind, the will, and the emotions again, we understand that now we understand clearly that the mind has a lot to do with our emotions, which means that if we have things in our subconscious mind that's causing us to have certain feelings, we really need to go back and see what's going on back there. Like, what could be causing these things? You know, if you make a list of all of the issues you have in your life right now, then you can start to see and allow God to help you to see the connection to those issues. What connection do you have in your subconscious mind? What's happened in your life? What type of situation did you have? Some of them, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
Like, you know that if you decide that you don't want to have anything to do with men anymore, that you're done, it can be very obvious that you had a few relationships that were all negative. It's obvious why you don't want to have anything to do with men anymore, right? But if you decide, I want to release that, I don't want to have that issue anymore. I don't want to feel like I can't stand men. I don't want to have anything to do with men. I can have a friend, but that's it. I don't want any more relationships. You know, you're going to have to go back to those relationships that you have and not physically go back to the person. But in the soul detox, when we break down how to actually soul detox, we have different practices, a whole step-by-step formula to release those negative emotions. Even if they're emotions that you don't even know why you have those emotions. If there's anything going on that's not right in your life, it has to do with something that's happened in your life. And it needs to be dealt with.
I agree.
Totally. So, Coach Shanice, we were talking about the matrix and how we're so influenced by the matrix. We're so influenced by the world and people and the way people are today. And it's hard for you to just be you without having the influence of other people, which is why, again, the detox is important, because imagine you have all these different people in your life and some of them are very negative. You have someone else that eats horribly, but she's a friend of yours and she likes to hang out with you and she brings you unhealthy food, you know, and you have all these different components. You have children that you're trying to deal with that's problematic for whatever reason. And then you have everything that's happening in the world on the news. Then you have your job. And
It's a
the job
lot.
is putting you through a whole lot. You have a new manager and he is, I don't know, who knows, he could be racist, whatever it is, it's just not good.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all of these different aspects of your life where you have to deal. You're trying to be you. You're trying to be the person you are,
Mm-hmm.
but you're influenced and you're controlled, so you think, by all of these outside influences. How do you deal with that? With your soul? How does your mind, will, and emotions deal with life every day as you know it?
That's a good question. But I think that that's probably why we would need to do more than one soul detox. I definitely have done more than one soul detox.
What most people don't realize is that when you detox your soul, you are releasing a lot of negativity that is attracting current negativity.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you are attracting your life. You're attracting the issues. You're attracting the negative boss. You're attracting your children being out of control. And I know that's hard to hear. You're attracting the wrong men for you, and that you're constantly having relationships that are not right, and they could be very negative relationships. There's a common denominator in all of it, and it's us, it's me, it's you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why instead of trying to change the outside environment, the outside world, what's happening to you outside, you have to work on the inside first. Because in working on the inside first, you're going to heal a lot of negative experiences that you've had in your life, that you're
Yes.
carrying with.
Mm-hmm.
That frequency of that negativity is attracting more of the same.
Yeah.
And once you get things in order, yourself, in your mind, in your will, in your emotions, everything else is going to turn around. You're going to attract the right job. You're going to attract the right man. You'll be able to handle your children better because they're not picking up some negativity that you had in your childhood that now you're trying to either be the opposite of your parents, or you're picking up those negative traits that they had.
Yes.
And you don't even realize that you're being that same way that you didn't want your parents to be with you. Again, it's all that stuff in the booth, in the back, in the corner, in the dark back there, right? That has not been released.
Yeah.
But once it's released and you have peace within yourself, there's no doubt about it. Your children are going to have more peace. And even if, God forbid, they don't turn around, you're going to have a different perspective about it. And that perspective is going to keep you from being sick. It's going to keep you from losing your peace. It's going to allow you to live the life God created you to live regardless to your outside circumstances.
So that basically answered the question of what the soul detox is. Right? It's a process that helps you to release negative influences, things that happened in your past, how you deal with what comes towards you every day. Once you do the soul detox, you're going to think about how you're going to respond. Yeah. You're going to sit and you're going to think about it. And then you're going to make a decision about how you're going to respond, and then you're going to do it. The outcome's going to be different because they can't respond to you the same way if you're not responding to them that way. Everyone.
On public transportation, the whole energy is different. And what's wonderful about detoxing your soul is once your frequency is higher and less toxic, you are going to have an aura of protection around you, which is extremely important in the world that we live in today. There's going to be people that don't even really want to be around you. And those are the people that you don't
need them around you.
You don't want them around you. OMG, it is such a powerful way of releasing the world's mess and what has been put upon you from childhood, maybe even birth.
Yes.
Because God does not want us to be in the world and be a part of it. And all of those experiences that you have connects you to the world, keeps you connected to the world. So we should be in it, but not of it. Which means that our thoughts should be not of it, not of the world. So I want to just quickly go through what we're going to be discussing the next few weeks. And we can do that by just going through our different segments of the soul detox.
Yes.
So we went through the mental feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be going into soul detox step number 2, which is uproot. And uproot is very important because anybody that knows anything about gardening, and we say that you want your soul to be like a beautiful garden, not a weed-filled plot of land. You want it to be fully flourishing, beautiful ecosystem. That's what you want your soul
Absolutely.
to be like.
Yep.
And of course, you're going to constantly have stuff coming in. Mm-hmm. Constantly, just like when you have a garden. You always have to uproot the weeds. The weeds are going to come. Mm-hmm. But you just have to uproot them. So we're going to uproot.
Then we're going to sow it as a seed.
Sow it as a seed.
Sow it as a seed.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do. Let go and sow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then we are going to...
Then we're going to protect the seed.
Then we're going to protect the seed. Yes. Mm-hmm. We're going to protect the good seed, right, that we're going to be planting in our garden of our soul.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
And then we're going to seek forgiveness and forgive ourselves. Love that one.
Yep. See, so important. You can't even really come to God correctly without forgiving.
Yeah.
You have to ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So that is extremely important.
Yes. Then we're going to be talking about replacement therapy. Mm-hmm.
So the next 3 weeks, we're going to be going into all of those different stages. So I hope you continue to join us, to stay with us, because we really want you to do this. We'll do it together. Mm-hmm. Of course, the best way to participate and to really get this thing to the point where you are seeing all the breakthroughs is to join the 28-day Body and Soul Detox.
Absolutely.
Because that's where we actually come in on Zoom and we support the women, and we do have some men too that participate in the program, and we help them to flesh it out.
Yes.
I mean, wait till we get to the woman in the mirror.
Oh, goodness.
Which, actually we're calling it, it was the man in the mirror, but we changed it to the woman in the mirror.
But we might have to change it to the person in the mirror, because there's men in there.
Yes, the person in the mirror.
The person in the mirror.
So we thank you for being here with us today. I hope you were blessed. So much more to share with you. Make sure that you grab your free resource that goes with this episode. Actually, this whole series, the Soul Detox Support Tool, is going to definitely help you a lot. You don't want to miss these free resources that come with the series, because I take a lot of time to give you something that you can really work with, to make it real. This is not just a lot of head knowledge. We want to have transformation.
Amen.
This is a transformational podcast, right?
Yes.
Amen. So look forward to seeing you next week.
Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you were blessed by this episode. If so, please be a blessing by liking and subscribing so that we can reach more sisters like you. Be sure to click the link in the show notes to download this episode's juicy free resource. And let's stay connected. Join our Sacred Self-Care Sisterhood Facebook group with daily inspiration for your body and soul, designed to awaken the kingdom heiress you truly are. Like our business page, where you can join me live for weekly food demos, self-care tips, and emotional healing support. Visit the website for a complete list of our programs and support tools. Beloved, life doesn't get better by simply praying. It gets better by receiving the support you need to get what you've been praying for. Set up your complimentary health and wellness support call by simply filling out my health and wellness assessment form and scheduling your call. See all details in the show notes below. And remember, you can soothe your soul, heal your body, and live your bliss in a time like this.